The cold wind pressed against her cheeks the morning her entire world collapsed, but Olivia barely felt it. She sat alone on the edge of the bus stop bench in downtown Seattle, her hands trembling in her lap, her breath uneven, her mind replaying the moment that shattered the last piece of her heart. Only 12 hours earlier, she had stood in the hallway of the house she once believed would be her forever home, watching her husband of 8 years slip his arm around another woman as if Olivia had never existed. The betrayal didn't come with shouting or fights or messy explanations. It came quietly, like a knife slipped between ribs. A simple confession, spoken with the calmness of a man who had long made up his mind. He didn't want to work things out. He didn't want counseling. He didn't even show remorse. He had replaced her, cleanly, confidently, without hesitation, and suddenly the life she had poured herself into had no place for her anymore. That moment hollowed her out from the inside, leaving her staring into a future she never imagined facing alone. Before we go deeper into Olivia's journey, if you believe in kindness, healing, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support truly helps stories like this reach more hearts. The hours after the breakup blurred together. Olivia wandered the quiet streets, her suitcase dragging behind her, her heart heavy, her mind numb. She had no children, no close family nearby, and no one she felt she could call without collapsing into tears. She worked part-time at a small design store, barely enough to cover bills when she lived with her husband. Now she wasn't even sure where she would sleep that night. Her job wasn't enough to support her alone, and her savings were small. She didn't know whether to cry, scream, or disappear. Everything around her felt too loud, too fast, too overwhelming. It was as if life had pushed her out of her own story and slammed the door behind her. As she sat at the bus stop trying to gather the strength to stand again, a small child's voice broke through her fog. She lifted her eyes to see a little blonde boy, maybe 4 years old, holding the hand of a sharply dressed man in a navy suit. The boy's innocent gaze was fixed on her with quiet concern, while his father was kneeling slightly, adjusting the child's jacket and speaking gently to him. The father looked up suddenly and met Olivia's eyes. His expression shifted, not in judgment, not in pity, but in a warm, sincere kind of understanding. The kind you don't expect from strangers. That man was Marcus Hale, a young widowed CEO known in the business world for his discipline and resilience, but known only to his son, Noah, as a father who loved deeply and tried his best every single day. Marcus rarely slowed down enough to notice much outside his responsibilities, but something about the quiet grief in Olivia's eyes caught him off guard. It reminded him of the nights he spent alone after his wife passed away 3 years earlier, when he too had felt abandoned by fate and unsure how to rebuild. He recognized that lost look. He had worn it himself once. Over the next few days, their paths crossed again and again. Not by coincidence, but because Marcus felt compelled to check whether the stranger on the bus bench was all right. Olivia had moved into a small rented room she found on a community board, struggling to adjust to her new reality. She didn't know how to plan for the future. She didn't know how to trust it. She kept her head down, trying to stay invisible as she pieced her life back together. But Marcus noticed everything. How she flinched when someone shouted nearby. How she hesitated when ordering food as if counting every dollar. How she looked exhausted even when smiling politely. He wasn't sure why he felt drawn to helping her. Maybe because helping her felt like healing a part of himself. One rainy afternoon, when she was walking home soaked and shivering, Marcus pulled over beside her. His offer was simple. A job. Not charity. Not pity. A job using her natural creativity and organization, skills he recognized in the way she interacted with the world. His company was expanding, and he needed people he could trust. Something in his tone, in his sincerity, in the gentle smile of his little boy in the back seat, made her accept. It was one of the first hopeful decisions she had made in months. Working for Marcus Hale changed everything. His office was structured yet calm, professional yet warm. And Marcus himself was nothing like the intimidating figure the media painted him to be. He treated his employees with respect, patience, and expectation, not pressure. He believed in Olivia before she remembered how to believe in herself. Slowly, her confidence returned. She began to smile again. She began to care again. She began to feel like maybe she wasn't broken beyond repair. What she didn't expect was the growing bond with Noah. The little boy adored her from the moment she showed him how to fold paper airplanes in the office lobby one afternoon. He would tug at her sleeve when she walked by, ask her to help him color, or insist on sitting beside her whenever Marcus invited her to join them for lunch. His soft, trusting affection chipped away at the walls around her heart. It had been years since anyone had looked at her as if she mattered. Noah did. And slowly, Marcus did too. As the months passed, the three of them naturally fell into a rhythm, like pieces of a puzzle that didn't know they were missing each other. Marcus admired Olivia's quiet strength, her kindness, her patience, and the way she carried her pain without letting it turn her cold. She admired his integrity, his devotion to his son, and the gentleness he hid beneath his business-like exterior. Neither of them rushed anything. Healing wasn't instant. Love didn't bloom overnight. It was slow, steady, like sunlight returning after a long winter. But life wasn't done testing Olivia. Her ex-husband re-entered her life one afternoon, showing up at her workplace with a sudden apology, claiming he had made a mistake and wanted her back. The sight of him sent a tremor through her spine. He stood there, confident as ever, expecting her to fall apart, to beg, to return. He believed she still needed him. He didn't understand that the woman standing in front of him wasn't the same one he had abandoned. She was building her future without him. She had people who cared for her now. She had a job she earned. She had a place where she belonged. Walking away from him for the final time became one of the most empowering moments of her life. That evening, Marcus noticed she was shaken. Without asking questions, he simply invited her to join him and Noah for dinner at their favorite little diner near the pier. Noah grabbed her hand with his tiny fingers, swinging it playfully as they walked. The gentle clatter of dishes, the warm lights, and the soft hum of people chatting created a bubble of comfort around her. For the first time since her marriage fell apart, she felt completely safe. One night, months later, after Noah had fallen asleep on Olivia's shoulder while they sat on Marcus's living room couch, Marcus finally expressed what had slowly, silently grown between them. He didn't speak with grand gestures or promises he couldn't keep. He simply told her that she mattered, that she brought joy back into their home, that Noah looked at her the way children look at someone they trust with their whole hearts, and that he himself felt something he didn't expect to feel again after losing his wife. Olivia's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of gratitude. Because for the first time in her life, she realized she wasn't being chosen as a convenience or an option. She was being chosen with intention, with respect, and with love. Their relationship deepened gently, naturally. Olivia became not only an important part of Marcus's company, but an essential heartbeat in his home. Noah began calling her his favorite person in the world. And one evening, after a long day at work, Marcus wrapped his arms around her in the kitchen and told her that she had given him more than she knew. She had given him hope again. She had given Noah a motherly presence he desperately needed. And she had found in them the family she never had. If this story touched your heart, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps these emotional stories reach more people who may need them. Before we end, please comment below. Second chances are beautiful. Years later, as Olivia tucked Noah into bed in the home she now shared with Marcus, she looked around and felt something she once believed she would never feel again: belonging. The journey had been painful, terrifying, unpredictable, and full of moments where she thought she couldn't make it. But heartbreak had led her to healing, betrayal had led her to honesty, and being replaced had led her to the family she was always meant to find. In losing everything, she had discovered something far greater: love, respect, purpose, and a home where she was chosen every single day.